All right. We're live. I believe I'm solo today. Looks like I'm solo today. Anyways, that's what you get. You get me. All right. The Knicks lost a game today. They played against the Mavericks, very shorthanded. 122 to 108 is the final score. Isaiah Hartenstein did not play the second half. He apparently aggravated his Achilles or strained it again or whatever. It would be fucking nice if Jericho Sims wants to get over whatever his sickness is and show up for the team when they're shorthanded on Saturday. That would be great because I would like if Isaiah Hartenstein did not play, honestly, until after the All-Star break. I think it would be really nice for him to get an extended rest. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about, obviously, the Knicks making a pretty significant move today on trade deadline day. And we will do that. But before we do any of it, I have to say, BetOnline is our sponsor. It's playoff time, and the usual suspects are heading to Vegas for the championship. And our partner, BetOnline, is your number one source for football odds, stats, trends, and lines, with everything from point spreads to hundreds of bets on everything from the coin toss to the color of Gatorade. BetOnline is number one source for your championship wagering. Head to BetOnline and join today to get into all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here. Yeah, look, you can throw I'm sure you could find criticisms of Tibbs, the players, whoever tonight, but honestly, I think you just have to respect the effort they put forth, being as shorthanded as they were. Obviously, no Jalen Brunson tonight, no OG Anunoby, no Julius Randle. I think Quentin Grimes no longer a Knick, so he was not available, and he wouldn't have been anyway because he was hurt. And then again, they lose Isaiah Hartenstein at halftime. So really, really just you see, honestly, just how competitive and it's not easy against this team. Look, Josh Hart, he will make plays that are infuriating, but he will also play entire halves and max out and give you everything he's got. And he gave you everything he got today, everything he had today. I thought Precious Achiuwa, again, just another impressive performance for him, especially considering the circumstances. I just can't really say enough about what he's given the Knicks, and generally just his effort and how good he's been. Precious Achiuwa had a double-double tonight. He had 13 points, 16 rebounds. Josh Hart, triple-double, 23 points, 12 assists, 10 rebounds. Look, the Knicks battled. I mean, that's all. This is all you can really ask of this group. Deuce McBride, 21 and 9 and 22 from the field, only 2 of 10 from three. He's on a little bit of a slump right now from three, so that's something to keep an eye on. But he also had 5 assists, 6 rebounds. He played, I believe, the entire second half, 45 minutes. DiVincenzo, 43 minutes. Josh Hart, 39 minutes. Precious Achiuwa, 41 minutes. Todd Gibson played 22 minutes. He actually he was +8. So Todd Gibson still doing work out there for the Knicks. Didn't score. I don't think he scored since he came back again this time. So hopefully he'll get off his duck there. And then Jacob Toppin, he played 12 minutes, 1 of 2 from the field, 2 points. Charlie Brown Jr., 1 of 5 from the field, 3 points, 2 rebounds. I will learn my lessons from my Precious Achiuwa previous slander now turned into praise. Charlie Brown did not look like much of an NBA player to me. I don't know. I didn't see much of him at all that was intriguing. Maybe I'm completely wrong on that. I don't know. We'll see over time. I actually thought that Jacob Toppin probably should have played more. I thought he looked fluid. I just like the energy he kind of brought to the table when he was in the game. And it also felt almost as if like he seemed to have a better idea of what the Knicks were trying to do, both defensively and offensively, than I saw from Charlie Brown Jr. Honestly, like, again, I'm not going to spend too much time criticizing Tibbs or anything for tonight because what the hell are you going to do? But I thought maybe he could have played more than 12 minutes. But it is what it is. Todd Gibson, man, that guy, I just think he's about to pass out every time he's on the floor for more than like 3 possessions. Donte DiVincenzo, by the way, again, and credit to Jordan Bubb for pointing this out. Donnie DiVincenzo has legitimately been playing elite recently, unlike a top shooting guard in the East. Just can't believe it. 47, 42, 80 split, 62 inches shooting. I mean, he's shooting great. He played really, really well tonight. I thought, honestly, they probably could have like leaned into just force feeding him the ball more. But I mean, again, man, 7 of 12 from three. Some of the threes he's hitting to the distance on them is crazy. He's really, I mean, you're talking about the contract he's on, 4 years, 47 million. This is like one of the value contracts in the league as it stands. He's playing just fantastic ball, and it's pretty impressive. Just given, it took him a little bit of time to get his bearings to start the year. He wasn't obviously shooting the ball anywhere near as well. But ever since he's been put into that starting lineup, man, he's been really, really impressive. So definitely just massive kudos to him. And yeah, it's nice to see. This one, Ace Bouchard, Taj looks so extremely old. Yeah, he really does. Chris Bernard, the Knicks were down 20 plus. Luka sat. They came back. Luka came back in and had to go Super Saiyan in order to beat the skeleton crew Knicks. That is definitely the case. Luka was awesome in that fourth quarter, but the fact that Knicks kind of forced him to have to come back in the game with just how well they played says so much about how well this team is playing right now. So definite kudos to him. Or it's not kudos to him, sorry, but kudos to the Knicks. Fuck Luka. I found his preening and prancing, and I get it. Look, I think that it doesn't matter who you play in the league. When you're having a good game, you want to, celebrate, puff your chest out. Just a little bit much tonight. A little bit much. This is from Neo Schmidt. Grimes will never be as good as this version of Devo. Look, never say never, but it's this version of DiVincenzo is, I mean, I don't know. I'm getting close to having to say some uncomfortable things about how well he's playing. But yeah, I mean, I don't think this is an insane take at all. It's not a lot of guys are going to shoot the ball as well as DiVincenzo has been shooting it for the last couple months here. So really, really fantastic stuff from him. Bub, Tibbs' hatred for Toppin's bloodline is quite strange. I did find it weird, but again, who knows what the hell that was about. Ace Bouchard, Donnie DiVincenzo is one of the best value contracts in the league, and he's not even the best value contract on the Knicks. Absolutely true. Yeah, who knows? The Knicks have a bunch of value contracts at this point. This is from Chris Bernard. Funniest thing is even when Luka was back in, they kept matching threes, and it basically ended around the 3-minute mark when the Knicks ran out of gas. DiVincenzo is the best three-point shooter in Knicks history, too. I mean, he keeps this up. He's definitely got the claim, or he's got a claim anyway. Knicks have had they've been blessed with some really good three-point shooters in their time. But I will say, like, considering how well Evan shot the ball a couple years ago, what DiVincenzo is doing is at another level entirely. I don't know, like he's also starting to kind of be more comfortable taking some off the dribble, movement threes, all that kind of stuff. So you're seeing him expand his repertoire also from three as well. So again, I just can't say enough. I think obviously the Knicks lost the game tonight, but like these guys were, stretched to the max. Probably not the best defensive game in the world you're ever going to see from them, but also like, again, when you're playing the minutes they are, down as many bodies as they are, it's hard. And I have no real interest in criticizing anybody for the play of anybody tonight. Jordan Bub asks, are the Knicks going to draft someone this year? I would be pretty fucking surprised if they don't draft. I think they might actually use both the picks they have in the first round. You traded out Grimes. Obviously, Grimes goes out today. Quickly and RJ already traded out in the OG trade. And Obi Toppin, obviously, he was sent out in the summer. You would think that they would want to get rookie contract guys back on the books, kind of put some more young talent in the pipeline that they can work with, develop internally. Obviously, they've shown the ability to develop talent. I mean, Precious Achiuwa right now already, the improvement he's made since the trade is amazing and honestly fantastic. Deuce McBride, he's been solid. I know that he is not necessarily the most awe-inspiring player, but I do think he's been giving them solid minutes, and he stepped up in the aftermath of the OG Anunoby trade with Emmanuel quickly going out. But yeah, I mean, you'd think that they would want to get a couple more of these guys in because, yeah, we all know what the end game is here. And EJ1 asked us, what superstar is going to force his way to the Knicks this offseason? Future's looking great. Given that I think we all know and it's widely assumed the Knicks are looking to make a trade to get a star, superstar, however you want to phrase it. Like they are going to likely have to replace some guys that they trade out. And I think you want to have young rookie scale players within your organization, within your pipeline, that can step up in the event that you do finally have the opportunity to make a star trade. So, yeah, I mean, that's what it is. So, this is from Chris Bernard. We don't want and shan't acknowledge the French guy with the worst hairline than Braun ever again. He never existed to us. You got it. Chris Bernard, DJ Wagner already had his Knicks photo taken back in November, so now we just need one. Now we just need one more rookie. Yeah, DJ Wagner, obviously a player that has a lot of connections to the Knicks, given his Kentucky ties, roll out west, Leon Rose, whatever. This is from Milan Patel. It does feel like this whole season now goes as our health goes, with the number of rotation players hurt / coming back for the playoffs. New territory for the Leon Rose era. We've had good health luck. Yeah, I mean, look, they obviously look, Mitch is out. He's been out for a while. Hartenstein is dealing with his Achilles thing. I think he'll be okay, knock on wood. But they do need to be careful with him. And again, I would think that they probably need to rest him, or they should at least consider shutting him down until after the All-Star break. Brunson being out now. And then you also have OG Anunoby missing time. Like, they're definitely going through it right now with injuries. I mean, you're absolutely right. I wouldn't even say that this is necessarily. This is, I guess, in the case of like Hartenstein and Brunson and Randle, those three for sure. There's some element of bad luck. They've been pretty durable players to varying degrees, all three of them, and yeah, definitely just seems like some bad luck. OG Anunoby a little bit different because he has had injuries throughout his career. It's something he's dealt with. I don't know if that's bad luck, but it definitely came at a kind of it's all kind of stacked up at an inopportune time. So, yeah, I mean, look, they need to get guys back. Obviously, Bogey and Burks coming in, that should help give you some more bodies, reduce some wear and tear. You know, Josh Hart has openly talked about how much he wants to play less. So hopefully those guys can definitely help that out. John Leary asks, Burks is a free agent. Do you think they resign him or a pure rental for just this year? I think they're going to resign him. If nothing else, that's a guy that you probably can sign at a number, and he has full bird rights. He comes with full bird rights. Comes something key to remember. So they had the opportunity to kind of give him, kind of do like what the Pacers did with Bruce Brown. They can bloat his salary to a number that they feel like is advantageous to them. Again, this has to get to see where the first apron and all that shit. But like they could theoretically do this, and then maybe structure in a way with a team option or a non-guaranteed second year or whatever. That kind of makes him an appealing asset in trade. So that I do think they'll keep him around. I don't think there's any point not to. They've generally erred on the side of keeping talent and then figuring out what to do later, be it in trade or whatever it is. This is from Jordan Bubb. Brunson was able to get through the workout today, which is great news. And I think he was being kept out for safety reasons. Yeah, I mean, they said that on the TNT broadcast also. So definitely a good sign. Chris Bernard. Also, the Knicks need to be on the buyout market just because we're so undermanned. Mook, Lowry, House at this point are bodies we need. Yeah, I don't know. Marcus Morris, that one's tough. You got Bogdan and Burks. I feel like that's probably not the position that you definitely need. Lowry makes sense to me if he is cool buying into like a very much reduced role and maybe even a situational role. I don't know that he will because he does maybe have opportunities with teams like Philly, for example, where he may be able to just walk in and command a pretty substantial rotation spot. We'll see what he wants to do. But yeah, he'd be an interesting one. Daniel House, I mean, is he good? He got waived by like the Sixers didn't really want anything to do with him. They dumped him and then he gets waived today. I'm not really sure. Maybe. I mean, like but to your point, if you think you just need some bodies, yeah, maybe you just need to go get a couple of these guys. EJ1, will the Knicks stay patient even if the playoffs are, God forbid, a disaster? No way to answer that question. If they're healthy, I also just don't think the playoffs will be a disaster. I'd be very hard pressed to see how they'd just be a complete disaster if they're relatively healthy going into the playoffs. The team is really, really good. They have a lot of good players, a lot of good talent. But like they've tended to be patient. They have been patient, this group under Leon Rose, since they came in at various points when people expected anything but. So I would say the smart money is on, yes, they would probably stay patient. Efficiency. Boyan is one of 3 players in the league, along with KD and Laurie, who's shooting at least 65% of the rim, 40% of the paint, 45% of the mid-range, 40% of the corner threes. Yeah, he's got a very diverse offensive skill set. The guy is a weapon offensively for sure. Defensively, he's been really, really bad. And he's been bad for a while, so I don't think this is just like a situation in Detroit thing. I think he's just a bad defender. But you hope that you can cover up for him better than the Pistons were able to. And also, like, he's not going to be starting. Like, he's not going to start here. He's going to be in a reduced role. And that is generally like that solves a lot of things right there, right? So that's big. And Burks is another guy. Like, look, the guy can't make a shot inside the arc to save his life right now. Again, putting up 40, he's shooting over 40% from 3. Like, and obviously we are no strangers to Alec Burks. We know what Alec Burks can do. We know what he can provide. The defense took a little bit of a hit in Detroit. We'll see. I think he is obviously in the downs. He's on the wrong side of 30. It's possible that he's declining right now physically, and that's actually the bigger reason for why his defense has come down a bit as well. But I think just cannot deny how bad that situation was in Detroit. Obviously, this is a better situation for him, and he has familiarity with the players on the team, the coach, the schemes, all that stuff. So that's not nothing. I think that's pretty important for the Knicks purposes anyway. Patel asks, who ends up getting that crypto clown Dinwiddie? It seems like the Mavericks. I mean, the fact that he's at the game today was very weird. Apparently, the Lakers might be interested too. I don't really know what the hell he does for the Lakers, but I don't care. Fucking Spencer Dinwiddie. Honestly, if he goes out to the West, great, wonderful. Lakers and Mavericks, we're done playing them. Go to those teams. I don't want to see that fucking guy again this year. Neo Schmidt, sorry about that, says the future is so bright, even if we fail this year, the next 5+ years are ours. Hey man, you got that right. That is definitely for sure. Sorry. Ace, remember when Daniel House was on the Knicks? I do. He played like one game and then never played again. John Leonard, I know Josh Hart had a triple elbow and he's a good player, trying to be obvious, but man, he's got to shoot better. I know he's never been a shooter, but I feel like he's been and should be shooting better. I mean, the Josh Hart thing is just really weird. I remember him with the Lakers like shooting normally, like the shot form was not a problem, and now it looks like he has like this fucking weird thing going on. I don't know. They need him to shoot better. Again, now that you have Burks, now that you have Bogdanović, if he doesn't shoot better, you have options, right? And you have options that have size, which we know has been something that Tibbs obviously has wanted, and rightfully so, I would say. So he has options now. Obviously, especially when OG is back, you have options. You have guys that can really shoot. I mean, we talked about DiVincenzo earlier. DiVincenzo, OG, Hart, Bogdanović, Burks, Brunson, hell, even Deuce. Like, this is a really fucking good shooting team. You've got guys. So if Josh Hart isn't shooting well, given all that, not really an excuse to over rely on him the way he has previously. This team, Edsel Mercado, this team older, most will ship out in the season 2, future's gone. I don't really agree with this. Brunson's 26, 27. Josh Hart's 28, 29. Same with Randle. DiVincenzo's 26. Hartenstein's 25. He's likely to resign. Mitchell Robinson, who is out obviously right now, he's 25. McBride is 23, I believe. Like, I get it. OG's 26. I get it. I get the concerns, and I definitely harbor some, but like, they're probably going to add, again, 2 rookie scale guys this year in the draft. So that'll help drive down the overall age of the roster. And I wouldn't worry too much about Bogdanovich and Burks as far as them being like long-term pieces. I think they're here to help for this season, given the injuries we're dealing with. And I think they're also here because they will be useful as trade fodder down the line. I do think the Knicks are going to make a big trade at some point in the next 12 months. So definitely look for that. Jordan Bubb says the Knicks were desperately searching for a player who could create their own shot, especially with Randle hurt. In situations where Brunson sits 25% of boyan shots come off of 3 to 6 dribbles. That's a number. That's impressive. Mars Jetson says, would love for the Knicks to draft Big Z from Kentucky, 7'2" unicorn stretch 5. I'm not going to lie. I don't know a fucking thing about college basketball, but if that's what he is, yeah, sure. Let's take a shot. I'm interested. Chris Burns, so Doc Rivers getting fired again. Maybe. Maybe he shouldn't have been hired, but fortunately for them, they only gave him a contract to 2027. So that's good. Good job by their front office. I'm sure that ownership will be happy if they don't need to fire another coach. John Leary, for what it's worth, Begley was on WFAN today and said he heard earlier this week Randle rehab is going really well. Still early, Ian said, but Knicks are feeling confident thus far regarding Randle. That is great news. That's great to hear. And I did not know that. So thank you for raising that. I that's as good of news as at least now knowing what the hell OG's timeline looks like. So that's positive. EJ1, if Tibbs is gone, is Tibbs gone if we lose to any team that isn't the Celtics or Bucks in the playoffs and we are helping that series? Look, there's so many moving parts and circumstances that can change what the answer to this should be. I would personally, I think that aside from the Celtics, the Knicks can go into any series, and I don't think they're outclassed by anybody else other than Boston in terms of the overall roster talent. And while Boston's top end, they have better top end contributors, I think our depth guys are a little bit more are better. And again, obviously in the playoffs, depth matters much less, but having those options means you can throw different looks at them and challenge them in different ways. So this roster is really good, and Tibbs definitely has to show that he is capable of utilizing them at a high level in the playoffs when we get there. So John Leary, Hart shoots like the kid you grew up playing ball with who didn't have enough strength to shoot. LOL, it's strange. I agree. I don't know what's going on. It's like he releases it now on the way down almost. It makes it very odd. I'm not sure. Nafi Mahuda, is Boyan the third option when we're at full health? He was a high usage self-creation bucket getter in Detroit. I don't think so, right? Like I know that it's hard to really parse this, but like he wouldn't supersede OG and Dante DiVincenzo in the hierarchy, but I do think kind of he obviously does stuff off the dribble and is able to create off the dribble in a way that, aside from Brunson and Randle, we do not have on the roster. So I do think he'll have like a pretty solid role here, and I think he's going to get a lot of touches. I mean, like he's definitely going to get fucking touches now because with our injury list expanding every day, apparently, Lord knows we need help. John Leary, reporters bring up a lot. When is Tibbs getting an extension? As a fan, I'm wondering when Leon gets one. I think he signed 5-year in 2020, same as Tom. That's correct. That is what all the reporting has been. My guess is that after the season, you want to see how it all goes, but I would be surprised if both. Yeah, again, we'll have to wait for the playoffs, but if things pan out the way we're all kind of hoping, I would be surprised if both Leon and Tibbs don't get an extension. Sure, I also trust Brunson in the playoffs way more than Tatum. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. Victor Don, yeah. Hard to complain much about gameplay tonight. Is there a limit on the number of 10-day guys we can have on a roster at a given time just in the interim? I don't know what the limit is or if there is one. I would assume there is. I don't know. The Knicks have generally not been very active with 10-day contracts. Granted, they have also not had to deal with a lot of injury crises of any significance. Certainly not like this. The last time they kind of did was during the COVID season when a lot of guys were out. Guess what? With COVID. So maybe that's something they explore. I'm not sure. About 5 TNT games left for the Knicks, so be prepared for that. Jesus, that's brutal. Edsel Mercado, Schwinn, how long do you think OG will be out? Will be on time for the playoffs, do you think? I feel pretty confident he'll be back by early March, just from reading what I have read and stuff. I think that's a safe, not a safe, let's not say safe bet, but I think that is what the Knicks believe he'll be on. So, yeah. Sure, Poyon should be the number one option off the bench. Yeah, that's basically what it is. John Leary on WFAN, they were discussing, is Leon the best GM we've had in 20 years? One of the hosts said Donnie Walsh. Walsh didn't do much for the Knicks, in my opinion. Look, guess we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics. Donnie Walsh fucking sucked as the GM of the Knicks. He was awful. All that guy did was come in, immediately telegraph that we were not planning to do a fucking thing other than suck ass and hoard cap space for the summer of 2010, when LeBron and Bosh and Wade and Amari and fucking whoever the hell, everybody was a free agent. He telegraphed that, and he dumped Jamal Crawford and Zach Randolph at a point where their contracts had actually they'd moved from toxic to neutral, and he did not have the patience to let them continue to juice their numbers in the Mike D'Antoni pinball offense of the day, and fleece some unsuspecting team. Instead, he just dumped them as soon as he could, without giving up first-round picks. Unfortunately, Donnie Walsh also ultimately did end up trading out first-round picks to dump salary to clear space for 2010. He also drafted Jordan Hill for no apparent fucking reason. And yeah, in general, I think Donnie Walsh sucked. He saddled the Knicks with the Amari Stoudemire contract, which Amari Stoudemire, really fun first season, terrible contract. Everybody knew how that was going to end. Pretty unfortunate, but that was his work. And for whatever it's worth, he has gone on the record multiple times and explicitly stated that it was his call to make the Carmelo Anthony trade. Do I fully believe that? Not really, but that's what he says. So I won't kill him for that, but the Amari Stoudemire contract, awful stuff. And obviously then the biggest faux pas was telegraphing his intentions for while being in love with Steph Curry and then being unable to move up in the draft to get him. Just a huge catastrophic error for a variety of reasons. But Donnie Walsh, terrible GM. Leon Rose clears. John Larry again asks, who is worse, Phil Jackson or Steve Mills? I think Mills was that bad. Probably Phil Jackson. Steve Mills didn't do a lot of good things, but he at least left them in a decent position with the contracts and their cap sheet and pick-wise. When he obviously got fired and Leon Rose took over, he also did pull the trigger on the Porzingis trade, which I still believe, and I think most people now believe, was a good trade for the Knicks. Tough decision, too. Not an easy decision. The easy decision would have been to let him go, or not let him go, sorry, extend him, give him the contract he wanted. The Knicks chose not to, and obviously they caught a lot of shit for it at the time, but that decision, in hindsight, looks pretty good. They also, him and Scott Perry did sign Julius Randle, who's gone on now to become a 3-time All-Star, potentially, and 2-time All-NBA. Maybe he'll make a 3rd All-NBA team this year. We'll see. EJ1 asks, Chen's on a Bucks implosion and Giannis to New York narratives this summer. They have gone from non-existent to, like, 0.5% or something. Like, I think it's possible, but I think he would probably give it more time than just this season. I think maybe if they have a disaster or a really bad season next year too, maybe then you'll hear some of that. MF Schwinn, which current or former player do you play like in your Sunday league? My guess, having never seen you play, is Prime Vidic. Let me tell you something. I am not good in the air like Prime Vidic, unfortunately. If I were to compare myself to any Prime or any current or former player, it would probably be just a very, very annoying, try-hard striker who can't actually score goals all that well. Especially like indoor right now, I'm playing striker because it's 5-on-5, so whatever. But generally, like, so I guess in indoor, I could say like Neil Mope. But in real soccer, I usually play outside back. So pick an average outside back, and that's me. That's me all day. John Leary, maybe I'm wrong, but I've always felt Leon and Co. main target this summer's Embiid. He's an amazing player, fit with Brunson, but his body does worry me short and long term. Yeah, I mean, Embiid's obviously the one that has garnered a lot of attention. And look, given Philly's weird trade deadline day moves today, I'm not sure what any of that, what any of it means. I don't know that it means he's out or he's out for the year, or whatever. But they didn't do anything that would. If I were Joel Embiid, they didn't do anything that I would be like, wow, Daryl Morey, what a great move. Buddy Hield is fine. Then they dumped out Patrick Beverly. They sent Jaden, and they sent Patrick Beverly to Milwaukee, and then they sent Jaden Springer to Boston. Just like really weird. I don't know. We'll see. Jordan Bub play Boston twice. The first game, the second game after the All-Star break, and in April, both on national TV, ABC for the first one, second one is TNT. Yeah, the first one is the Saturday after All-Star break. It is like the primetime game. So that is that'll be fun. John Leary. Also, do you move Randle? If you get Embiid, they probably wouldn't be a great fit. That's been my main concern about Embiid, is do you move Randle out, or if you keep Randle, how does that work? Because I agree with you. I don't really think they fit together very well. And I think they both want to operate in similar areas. And that bit concerns me a little bit. Any good news? That's a Mercado. Any good news regarding Man U later this season or next? Will they improve under this gaffer? I think the good news is that they only play 15 more matches this season. So in the league anyway. So they can only hurt me 15 more times. But the good news is that Kobe Miney looks fucking awesome. If you want some good news, there you go. Or next, will they improve under this gaffer? I don't know. I think you let them play out the season, and then obviously with new ownership coming in, they should do a full eval and make their own decision about him. They've been playing a little bit better recently, so that's good. Christian Farron, do you think Boyan starts in place of Achua for now? That is an interesting question. I would feel a lot more comfortable with that if you told me OG is healthy and Isaiah Hartenstein is healthy. I'm a little worried about how you can survive that if OG is still out, because I think, look, Boyan is an awful defender. Brunson has competed really, really hard in this end to the point that I think he's almost like a neutral, maybe even like a slight positive. I don't know. He's impressed me with his willingness to lay his body in the line, the amount of offensive fouls he generates every game. Yeah, like he's been good, but he's still a subpar defender. So, you know, if it's him and then it's Boyan and then you're starting, you know, Hart and DiVincenzo, and it's tough. Like I would guess that Boyan starts in time over Precious, but I think that might be something they wait for until after the All-Star break. I feel like Tibbs doesn't usually just immediately insert dudes into the starting lineup. So maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I will say no. I will say no. How about that? EJ1, can you shit on Daryl Morey and Embiid for a second? Philly sucks. They do suck, and they had a terrible day today. They've had a weird last few months, obviously with the whole Harden situation, they actually extricated themselves from that decently. They have a couple picks. So they at least kind of restocked their coffers so they can make some real offers if and when a player becomes available that they like. But I think they really fucked up today. I think they really had an opportunity to be more aggressive. I think a guy like I don't like DeJounte Murray, which I've been pretty vocal about on here. I didn't like him for the Knicks. I think he'd have been a worthwhile target for Philly, and definitely something to consider. I don't know that maybe they wanted something that Philly, it made no sense for Philly, but that would have been an interesting call for them. I do think that they needed to do something, and it's worth noting the Knicks apparently beat them to get Bogdanovich and Burks. So good job, Leon, I guess. Yeah, good job, Leon. Knock on wood. Obviously, hopefully it all works out. Do we get any update on Hartenstein? I don't know. I have no clue. I'm not on Twitter right now, so your guess is as good as mine. I depend on all of you to do the research for me and let me know. So, someone get back to me on that when you have something. Sorry, 1 second. Does Jalen Brunson become an all? This is from Jordan Bub. Does Jalen Brunson become an all NBA for the first time in his career? Yes, I think so. Obviously, just needs to meet the games played threshold, but I expect him to, and yeah, he will. Is Boyan an awful defender only in terms of on-ball defense? Can he hold it together in a scheme? He was really bad. He was a bad defender in Utah also, but Utah was also a team that was they had a lot of bad defenders, but they had Rudy Gobert to cover it up. Royce O'Neal was okay. Like, I don't know. And let's be honest here. Quinn Snyder has not been a good defensive coach in Utah, not been a good defensive coach now in Atlanta either. So maybe he was a victim of circumstance also. Detroit, I mean, there's not even a real reason to get into like the specifics of it. That was just an awful situation. So I mean, this is the hope, right? Maybe it's part of the hope for them in terms of where they see the value here. Like, they know he's going to be an awesome offensive player, but can he buy into a scheme? Can he execute a scheme at a decent level that can at least mitigate some of the weaknesses he brings? He's also a terrible rebounder, so that's something to keep an eye on. Jordan Bubb, who starts for iHeart now, he's down with injury. If Sims is unavailable to give it a go. I will be willing to sign a 10-day contract. I'm assuming Precious, but it could be Sims. Who the fuck knows? What do you want? Expect the team to finish these last three. I think Brunson plays Saturday. I went 2-1, 1-2. I guess isn't the end of the world. Let me see. I actually have no idea what the next schedule is. I've been very locked into the trade grind. Okay, so they play Pacers Saturday, Rockets. Pacers got fucking smacked today, by the way. Pacers Saturday, Rockets Monday, and then Magic on Wednesday. I'm gonna say 2-1. I'm gonna say 2-1 because I think Bogey and Burks will be back. They'll be good to go by Saturday. I think Brunson comes back then, and I think iHeart plays against the Magic. That's what I think. I don't know. I'm literally guessing. So I don't even know what the severity of whatever happened to him today was. Maybe they're just being super cautious because they knew this was a kind of a shorthanded game anyway. But yeah, I'll say 2-1. Why not? Lamar Jackson career, 2 MVP awards, 2 playoff wins. Lamar Jackson, hell of a player. Not my MVP. And serious questions need to be asked about him in the playoffs right now. I think it's okay. I think he's young. He can get better, but it is what it is. Edsel Mercado asks, who wins Super Bowl? I just Kansas City, right? Like I really just I can't. I don't think the Niners are going to do it. Their defense has not looked good last few games prior to the Super Bowl, obviously. And I don't trust Kyle Shanahan. Sorry. I think Andy Reid's a better coach. I think they obviously have the better quarterback. Purdy's been good for the Niners, but come on, Mahomes is a totally different level. So here we go. Ironically, Precious has kind of been a godsend with all the injuries. He's been fucking awesome, man. Like, I can't say enough about how good this guy has been. He is now like a Tibbs Iron Man too, so he's he has Tibbs's respect, which is why I do think it'll be interesting to see how he manages things with him and once Bogdanovich arrives. But like, he's been really good. I don't think it can be understated how valuable he's been and how. I mean, look, that was a guy that when he got thrown in the trade in the first few games we saw him, I think most of us were like, all right, enough. Like, this guy is just a dude that was in the trade. We probably don't need to like force feed him minutes. But guess what? He's been really good. I thought he was really good tonight. Like, all things considered, I thought he played well tonight. He has done a good job on the glass. I think he has been reasonable at finishing, nothing spectacular. The shooting is very much a work in progress, but you got to love the intensity that he's played with, the effort, all that shit. NFL take, but why do all analysts act like it's boxing or tennis? Like, I don't think having more rings or playoff wins automatically makes you better. Got to look at how said defense plays, quarterback, EPA in game. Yeah, look, all that stuff is very, very important. But yeah, like, again, I don't want to get too much into this, but I agree with you, and it is what it is. Do I think DeMar Hamlin, comeback player of the year, should win over Joe Flacco? No. DeMar Hamlin played like, I get it. It's a great story, but come on, the guy didn't even play like 15 fucking snaps this year. That's insane. Joe Flacco actually helped lead a team to the playoffs after he got off his ass on the couch. Yeah. So look, again, this game it's what it was. Hard to knock the effort for most of these guys, and again, encouraging that Brunson apparently got through a workout today. So, yeah, we'll see. So, all right. So let's see. I don't know. I haven't seen anything about Isaiah Hartenstein. We'll see. All right, here we go. This is Jordan Bub mentioned this transactional alert. Frank Ntilikina, Ish Smith waived by the Hornets. Bring Frank home. We need more bodies. No, I don't know, man. Frank, best of luck to him, but his days in the NBA may be numbered. He's looked really bad since he came back from his injury with the Hornets, which is kind of unfortunate because he was actually seemed primed to get some real burn for them with how they were using him in preseason. But, he came back, has not looked sharp, and he paid the price. So we'll see. Hopefully he gets on a shot somewhere. Best of luck to him. Ish Smith, maybe they should have signed him to make Clyde happy. I don't think anybody would be happier than him if we signed Ish Smith. Team competed, John Leary. Team competed well. Full strength. This team is better than Dallas. Yeah, no question. This team is 100% better than Dallas at full strength, as far as I'm concerned. So, yes. What is somebody? I'm sorry. The Bucks actually did get absolutely smacked today. I think the Knicks. Look, if they get back guys in a decent amount of time, like, I think the Knicks are going to pass them. So, yeah. This is actually an interesting tweet from John Schmelk, which I'll read out. This is what John Schmelk says. I'll just leave this here. If the DiVincenzo thing is for real, and I think it might just be, this really makes the team building conversation this offseason interesting. Yeah. That it certainly does. DiVincenzo is playing at a crazy level, and again, it's so unfortunate that Randle and OG both got hurt basically at the same time, and I haven't seen them since because, I mean, man, if Dante is for real, and I do kind of agree that something about the way he's performing right now makes me think he might be for real. You got to think that he is, I mean, he's like a borderline star at that point, the way he's playing. It's kind of nuts. I mean, there's like moments too. Prez really is the first one to point this out, at least to me. There's some like Desmond Bane stuff going on there with him. So definitely interesting. Definitely very interesting. John Leary says Celtics are in their own class, but I really think we are better than the Bucks if we are healthy. They still have Giannis, though, can never count them out. Yeah, that's the main thing is they have Giannis, so they're obviously always gonna have a chance. But maybe Dame is slow rolling us and gonna turn it on or something down the stretch and into the playoffs. But Brunson's just a flat out better player than him right now, and probably for moving forward. That's fact. I don't think getting Pat Beverly matters that much. I don't think they're athletic. Something about the vibes on that team seem off as well. Chris Middleton is hurt, so we have no idea what the hell is going on with him. Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily the most the brightest timeline for Milwaukee here. They obviously lost again tonight, 129-105 in the fourth. They got destroyed in the third quarter, got outscored 39-22. No Middleton, no Lillard, so that's also something to keep an eye on. But yeah, their defense is just really bad. And offensively, they have been able to cover for that for a while, but we'll see how long they can keep that up. All right. Huey Invictus says, yo, what's up? If it ever came down to it, I know Tibbs loves Hart like a son and is Brunson's best friend, but I am keeping Dante over Hart in a trade package. Yeah. I mean, look, this is just a conversation that's probably going to start increasing over time and something that we'll probably talk about. But like Dante is playing in a way that makes him far less replaceable. And he's right now a superior complementary player for a variety of reasons. I love what Josh Hart brings to the table. He's not been able to shoot it all this year. I think he's been pretty out of control at times offensively. It's been better. It was better after the trade. I think just in general. I mean, everybody was playing better after the trade, but like the OG trade I'm talking about. But I just feel like he was been a little bit off kilter this year. Maybe almost like trying to do too much at times. It's very odd. But look, Donnie DiVincenzo is one of the best shooters in the NBA right now. You can argue he's been the best shooter in the NBA for the last couple months, really. That's really, really valuable. And honestly, like as much as I love Josh Hart, once you get OG, and they've added Bogdanovich and Burks, you have options on the wing for the time being. Deuce obviously has been solid for them, and we know he can play off the ball. Maybe he's probably best suited to playing off the ball offensively. They've got options on the perimeter that should no longer make him, he should not be as valuable of a piece now to at all times. After the maneuvers they've made and the emergence of Dante is definitely one of those things. Ace Bouchard, Bucks are a very small team outside of their front court. Yeah, they are. They're not a big team, and the Knicks are a very big team. They got bigger today. So yeah. Is Julius Randle the X factor if the Knicks will go far? And for Knicks to win finals, they need what to happen? They need to be healthy. They need Julius to show up, and they need Tibbs to pick the right combinations of players. And if those things happen, they can definitely they're in the fucking ballpark for contention. So like it's not crazy to think like, yeah, there's a world where the Knicks can win the championship this year. But yeah, it's possible. John Leary, assume all health in playoffs, they run 9-man rotation. Yeah, I think they will. I don't know who the odd guys out will be though. I would assume this has been my take, and I've thought this for a while. I think Deuce probably drops out. Personally, I think it should be a competition. Like it should be a competition, and I think that you don't need to, choose 9 people and only stick to 9 people all the time. I think there are times where you can see if a guy doesn't have it, and then you pull him early, try somebody else. But we know Tibbs doesn't operate like that. You could talk me into like, him trying a 10-man rotation. I could see that. initially after the trade, but in the playoffs, I think he'll be 9 at most. What will be interesting is if Mitch is back by then, which I assume he should be. Again, Precious played really well. If Mitch is back, it changes. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they manage it, because Precious has played really well for them, and I do think that there are things he does defensively that are very valuable and can be very valuable in a playoff series. Jordan Bubb, DiVincenzo's last 10 games, 11.3 3-point attempts per game, 39.8 field goal percentage. He's definitely shooting a lot of perimeter shots. I mean, tonight, I think he was 13 of 27. I think he was 7 of 12 from 3 or something. So he still really shot the shit out of the ball. Yeah, he's on a heater, man. And the Knicks are pushing his boundaries in terms of usage quite a bit. I mean, look, Deuce McBride took 22 shots today. Josh Hart took 22 shots today. These guys are all pushing what they are really capable of. But DiVincenzo, 13 of 27 from the field, 7 of 12 from 3. Like, really, just cannot say the level he's playing at right now is really crazy. Yeah. So I don't know. Are we? I think we're probably a contender. I have a feeling Mitch will be rusty. He usually seems off injuries. Hope I'm wrong. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely the concern. You have an option though. So yeah. Well, Clyde Fraser, safe to say Knicks keep both their picks on draft day. I will say this. I think the Knicks will make 2 picks on draft day. Do I think they will keep their picks to do those? History would suggest no. But if this draft class is really as unimpressive as many are suggesting, then perhaps, right? Maybe they won't be able to trade back because teams aren't really aggressively trying to trade up. So, I do think they come out of this draft with 2 legit guys that they like. I don't think you'll get like a whatever the hell that Trevor Keels pick was. You won't get another one like that. So, should Mitch start over iHeart? I remember iHeart dealing with sore Achilles. I wouldn't. I mean, if iHeart gets his rest in and he's at full strength, I don't think you can just move him back to the bench and have Mitch Robinson start over him. Not in the middle of this season, not given what Hartenstein's given you and not given what we've seen of that starting group. And I don't remember who said this. Maybe somebody brought this up in our Discord. I don't remember who. So apologies for not crediting whoever it was. But like Mitchell Robinson with the bench, not traditional ways, but like he can help them in terms of just like the sheer volume of second chance opportunities he can help create. That would help them a lot too. I mean, you saw today in the minutes without Hartenstein on the floor, the screening. Look, and it's not the fault of Todd Gibson or Precious Achiuwa or whatever. They're just not going to be as good at screen setting as Isaiah Hartenstein. That was a noticeable difference in that second half, and like Mitch will help that. That is 100% a thing Mitch will help with because he's gotten much better as a screen setter over the last couple of years. So that's definitely something to say. Ace Bouchard, we all know they're going to do a couple of trade backs. Yeah, I think so. Ember says, Josh Hart threatened to whoop a reporter's ass tonight, lightheartedly. Never change, Josh Hart. Never change. There we go. John Leonard, I remember in 2020, the media praised the Troy Weaver hire. Leon came with lots of questions, understandably so, though. Mets hired a CA agent to be GM, and he was awful, so I was worried about that. Leon Rose has done an amazing job. Troy Weaver's been fucking ass. And it's not just Troy Weaver. Also, Arturas Karnisovas was hired during that same offseason, if I remember correctly, by the Chicago Bulls and has not made a trade in 3 seasons. So I would love to know what it is Arturas Karnisovas has done in the last 3 years. It feels like all he's done is draft some guys and sign an extension here and there for players. I don't know. He's been an awful GM, really awful hire, and a guy who came with the much ballyhooed front office connections with Denver. He had worked in their front office. He came from there. It's been terrible. Well, Clyde Fraser, Mitch, I heart friendship could be tested this postseason. It's possible. I think they'll be okay. I think with the way the Knicks are playing, I don't think that'll be a problem this season. But down the line, like, I don't know how Mitch would take it if you're like, hey, one, like Isaiah Hartenstein's a free agent this summer. If the Knicks give him a contract that's higher than Mitch, that's one thing. That would signal, I think, that they are. I mean, if you're paying the guy more at the same position, especially one like center, he's probably going to start. I don't know how Mitch would take that, and I don't know if that's a situation that would be tenable while you take your time to figure out how best to use Mitch in a potential trade or something, or if that would be, again, if that would just be a big problem in the locker room that they need to solve it sooner rather than later. But for now, look, like, let's get Mitch back on the floor. It would be huge for the Knicks, obviously, right now. And look, the Knicks need to re-sign Isaiah Hartenstein. I think they will. I think that'll happen, but like, it needs to happen. So until it does, we will see. This surprised the Bulls GM has been this bad. He was with the Nuggets for a while and he was the number 2. I guess he got carried. Yeah, he's fucking not good. And Calvin Booth seems to be better. Calvin Booth seems to have done a pretty good job with Denver. I know that Tim Connolly moved from Denver to Minnesota. And then Booth took over for him. So yeah, Booth's been good though. He's been pretty decent. Although they didn't do anything at the deadline. Not that they're in a different situation than obviously most teams because they won the championship last year. So we'll see. Donnie DiVincenzo on a scoring stretch. It's cool. We lost tonight, so it doesn't mean anything to me. It's cool to put the ball in the hoop, but what's better is when we have everybody back. Yeah. I think that's a great sentiment that he's sharing, and he expressed something similar the other day after they beat the Grizzlies. So I love everything about this guy right now. The way he's playing, his mentality, all that stuff. He's really showing a lot. And I guess this is the end of the quote. But what's better is when we have everybody back, the ball's moving around and everybody ends up with 15 and 20 points. I mean, the full quote even better than the partial. What a guy. John Larry says Bobby Marks was on with Macri and didn't seem to think a team will blow away Hartenstein with a massive contract. Center tends to get undervalued. Teams with cap want wings and guards. Yeah, that was a good pod. And I agree. I agree with what Bobby said on there with John and Jeremy as well. So yeah, that's let's hope so, because the Knicks get to keep him. God, they are all of a sudden in a position where, like, we're talking about what the rotation can be. If they can re-sign Hartenstein and re-sign Precious Achiuwa, they have the ability to trade. Like, you can trade, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson, one of these kids that they presumably draft this summer, and then they have all their picks and they have all these protected picks. They have things, and so the offers they can put out they could be very, very strong. Obviously, I really don't like talking about Mitchell Robinson or any player, especially ones that I like this, but obviously that's how the front office has to think, is the value of these players as assets, as well as, how good are they on the floor? How do they help us win? But you can't deny that part of it. If Hartenstein comes back and they bring back Precious, all of a sudden your front court has some depth that you can trade pieces out from, right? So, and obviously the big one, OG Anunoby, he's a free agent. I know that I would be surprised if OG is not starting, or not starting. Sorry, if he doesn't come back, but it needs to happen, obviously. Walt Clyde Fraser, who's backup point guard opening night next season? Deuce Burks, one of our 2020 FRPs, or Rokas? I think it'll be Deuce. That's my thinking. I look, Deuce obviously has a ways to go in terms of his consistency in scoring, his scoring inside the arc, his scoring at the rim, his handle, that stuff. I've seen a pretty decent amount of progression from him. I know he didn't shoot the ball well tonight, but I like the way he generally played, and I would like it if he would be a little bit more aggressive, especially on a night like tonight. I know that Tibbs was calling plays out in the second half to run shit through Josh Hart. If you listen to what they were talking about out of halftime, Tibbs mentioned that he didn't like that they were not organized offensively. So I wonder if that does seem like a thing that Deuce right now is. You're the conductor of the offense, right? When you're the point guard, having the confidence to do that, having the ability to do that, and having your teammates trust you to do that is tough, and that's something he's learning right now. So I have been pleasantly surprised with how much he has shown since being put into the rotation after the trade. And I think there's another jump coming from him. I do think that. Do you think Leon is better than Pelinka? Pelinka, former agent as well as now GM. Yeah, 100%. Pelinka, he was able to land LeBron and AD through no skill of his own. So, and then they let Caruso walk, whatever. They won the championship, I get it, but Pelinka's not awful, but I do think that I think he's more improved over time rather than his whole tenure being very good. Where would you go on a paid-for vacation anywhere in the world? Wow, that's a great question. Anywhere in the world, huh? I think I might want to do I think I would like to do South America. Argentina, Chile, like the coast, and especially my uncle went to Patagonia. I think that's what it is. He said it was amazing. So that's obviously a different trip and different type paid for vacation, but that would be a hell of a trip to take. So I don't know. I think, I think like Argentina, Chile. My parents went to Chile. They said it was really nice. I think sounds like a good idea. Deuce has a guard's body, but seems like off-ball wing can shoot and will play defense. Agreed. Jordan Bub, Sean Marks has big plans to get Donovan Mitchell to Brooklyn, and if he fails, what do you do about his tenure in Brooklyn? His tenure in Brooklyn. What do I say about his tenure in Brooklyn? I would say, I think Sean Marks has not been that great. He apparently always has some master plan that he's executing. When he executed it, it completely failed. And I know people will be like, well, you had to do it, and how can you predict all this stuff and whatever? I don't want to hear it. That's your choice as a front office to commit to that. That's your vision. And they went all in on those guys, and they had no control over the situation. I understand that COVID was its own thing, and then, they can't control for Kyrie not getting vaxxed, but this is like Kyrie was always going to fly off the handle about some shit. And he couldn't handle the media market in New York, and he wasn't even actually in New York. You know what I mean? He was in Brooklyn. So, and I mean that in terms of market, obviously not that Brooklyn is somehow not New York. Just, I think he's been terrible. All right, not terrible, but he's had a lot of big mistakes, and I think he gets a pass on all of them. And I do think the current strategy he's pursuing is stupid. John Lear, I know you've said on pods before your dad is a Celtics fan, wondering how you guys ended up rooting for all the teams. I have a cousin who's the opposite of his dad in spite. When he moved to America from India, he lived in Boston, but he moved to New York after he finished college, and then I was born in New York, and therefore I became an all New York fan. And he never tried to force me into being a fan of the same teams. So thanks to him for that. Fuck the Celtics. How does Marks keep getting away from slander, negative PR for them? Because nobody cares about Brooklyn. That's it. That's the reality. That's fine. John Larry, Bondi used to defend Marks a lot and take subtle shots at Knicks praising Marks. Now Bondi hates Marks. Bondi has been very critical of him lately, so I guess kudos to him because we know that most of the rest of the New York market doesn't. But he's not done a great job recently. And you got to say, the end of how that whole tenure with Kyrie and KD and Harden went, and then what they're pivoting into now, it's just not very inspiring. And maybe he'll be able to salvage it the way he did to land KD, Kyrie, and Harden in the first place. But I don't know. I think it's fair to be skeptical of him at this point. maybe even reasonable. Berman tweeted, "My Knicks, is he actually a Knicks fan or more troll job?" I mean, he's a troll. I don't take anything Berman says seriously, and hopefully nobody listening to this does either. So, all right. I have been doing this for a while. And it's solo, so it is what it is. Thanks everybody that's been in the chat for this entire post game. Really, really appreciate all you guys' questions and helping me stay on task, doing the live stream the right way. Again, this show is brought to you by Bet Online. We will be back, and I'm assuming we'll have more people, not just me, but we'll be back on Saturday night for the post game after the Pacers game. Me and Prez will be recording Pod Strickland tomorrow morning, so hopefully that'll be out sometime during tomorrow afternoon. But aside from that, that is all for today. I hope everybody, again, y'all have a good night. Thank you again for your comments and everything in the stream. Really appreciate the support. If you've not done so already, hit like, subscribe to the channel. That'd be a huge help to us. But all right, everybody have a great night, and I will see you. I don't know. I'll see you when I see you.